Tonight, the political fight over jobs is heating up, with the minority going after government, blaming it directly for Ghana's jobless growth crisis.
So the growth we are seeing, 6.0 we are seeing, it's actually a jobless growth. Look at the performance of industry. It actually contracted in 2021, contracted in 2023.
The unemployment fight just went political after the National Development Commission's report on Ghana's economy shows 6% growth without jobs. Tonight on Top Story, we unpack the issue. We speak with the National Development Commission, the minority in Parliament, the majority as well. Top Story is brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticides Prayer and Choir. Enjoy a holy sleep. Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, when we return from the break, we unpack the stories for you.
There are many reasons to connect, and it's all to put smiles on the faces of those you love.
Daddy, thanks for the tea cash, okay? I love you.
That's my daughter, Angela. Caring for my parents, that's my duty. I also get to pay my utility bills easily with Telecel Cash. And to the suppliers at my shop,
hello, sir. Telecel Cash payment received right on time. Thank you.
I get to make them smile because I can pay to my suppliers' merchant numbers, even on other networks directly. My dear ones, we keep the connection stronger when our family, friends, and business relations are happy. Live on cash, enjoy convenience, and make those who matter smile when you send them money with Telecel Cash.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Need a break from the city without leaving Accra? Then you should experience Best Western Plus Accra Beach Hotel in Nungua. It's right by the ocean, so you wake up to fresh sea breeze, enjoy complimentary breakfast, relax by the pool, and just reset. Perfect for staycations, business trips, or even events and weddings by the beach. For a limited time, stay for 2 nights and get a 3rd night free. Yes, 1 extra night free. To book your stay, call 059-672-3646 or visit bestwesternplusaccra.com. Best Western Plus Accra Beach Hotel. Your escape closer than you think.
Moolah Sports. See the all sharp, no long thing. MoolahSports.com.gh. Instant win, instant cash out. MoolahSports.com.gh. Moolah Sports, we run the city. Play, win, cash out. Yes, play and stand the chance to win Moolah at MoolahSports.com.gh. Enjoy premium soccer action, exciting trips on the aviator plane, and exciting spins on all your favorite virtual games. Moolah Sports. More Moolah. Bet responsibly. Gambling can be addictive. Not for persons under 18. This advertisement is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Missed passes, bad referee decisions.
Don't let your child's grade suffer a bad match. Ensure a straight win this academic season with curriculum-aligned textbooks and interactive tools from Pegasus Publishing.
From preschool to senior high school, we have the exact game plan your kids need to ace their classes. And because it's World Cup season, you get a massive 20% off every single book. Don't drop points. Call 059-50-10175 or dash to Pegasus Publishing in Accra Newtown, right opposite the Total Energy Station. Free delivery within Accra when you call. Pegasus Publishing, shaping minds, winning futures.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to the program. Tonight, the blames game is on. The minority is pointing fingers at government for Ghana's jobless growth, accusing government of killing jobs by cancelling policies and projects from the previous administration. Their criticism comes from the National Development Planning Commission, Ghana, which is describing Ghana's economic growth as jobless. The commission says its 2022 to 2025 annual progress report shows that although the country achieved its economic growth target of 6% during the period, the growth did not translate into enough jobs. Presenting the findings, the chief analyst of the institution, Isaac Kwesi Ewe, explained that while the economy expanded, the industrial sector, which is expected to drive job creation, underperformed.
We at the Commission were expecting industry to play a major role in our economic development and to create the jobs we need, the youth need. But the data shows that that it didn't work. It didn't work. So the growth we are seeing, 6.0, we are seeing, it's actually a jobless growth. Look at the performance of industry. It actually contracted in 2021, contracted in 2023, and just some slight expansion. The only time that industry did well was in 2024 because of the contribution of gold and the mining and quarry subsector of the economy. But last year, it's only gold that improved a little. All the others in that category of subsector performed poorly. That's the reason why we recorded 2.3. But if this were to grow as expected, then your question, issue of unemployment, would also be affected. Because the more jobs there are in the system, the more these youths will be absorbed to work. But unfortunately, we didn't grow that way.
That is Isaac Kwesi Ewe, who is the chief analyst at the National Development Planning Commission. My colleague Gemma Appiah joins me in studio with more details from that report. She was at that particular event. Gemma, what more can you tell us?
So this annual progress report spans from 2022 to 2025, and NDP says it got the data from the various ministries, departments, agencies, regional coordinating councils, and the MMDAs. And the chairman for the commission actually said that they had to write and sometimes strongly worded letters to these MMDAs and MDAs to present the report on the progress so far. So the report is supposed to assess development targets and also identify the achievements and constraints, documents the lessons, and how to improve service delivery in the country. There were 6 dimensions that includes the economy, social development, environment, governance, emergency planning, and COVID response, and the implementation, coordination, and monitoring and evaluation. Now, on the economy, they had 10 objectives that they were looking at, and that includes enhancing monetary discipline. That's where the issue about the growth rate came in. The target was 6%. The NDPC says we're able to achieve the 6%. However, the services sector, industry sector, and the agriculture sector, these are the criteria they used. Under the services sector, the country did so well, 8%, but where we have to look at in terms of driving employment, the industry sector performed poorly. So the targets for the industry sector was 7.1%. However, we're doing about 2.3%. The industry sector is the sector that's supposed to create jobs. When you talk about the mining industry, quarrying industry, and the rest, that's where we need to be creating jobs, but unfortunately it performed poorly, 2.3%. That's why we have the youth unemployment rates that we are recording. But generally the economy did well because we see inflation rates doing some 5.8%, even though the target was 8 plus or minus 2%, and also interest rates also doing well. They also talk about the governance sector, or the governance dimension. With the governance dimension, crime reduced, even though it's still high in some areas such as Greater Accra region, which is the highest, which has the highest number of crimes. Also, they talked about Iyoko performing or doing well in terms of its assets recovery. Then again, in terms of social development, enrollment across various levels of education improved, and particularly at the tertiary level because of the introduction of the no fee stress policy, and also talked about the emergency planning and COVID response in terms of fire outbreaks and accidents. The report also touched on it, Ken.
Thank you very much, Gemma. Now, reacting to the report, the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee in Parliament, Kojo Nkrumah, accused the government of scrapping projects and policies introduced by the erstwhile administration that they argue were creating jobs. He was reacting to this on the pause earlier with me.
We're already noticing that effective demand has gone down. Local manufacturing is more expensive. So assuming these 24-hour economy markets will even work, they're going to be working on imported products. How are you going to therefore be creating the domestic manufacturing and the jobs that come with it? That is even an assumption. But if you cancel or collapse an industrial policy like the 24, like the 1D1F, you should be replacing it with an industrial policy full of incentives that can even do better. 2 years on, after we have appropriated 650 billion Ghana cedis to this government, they said they are now working on incentives 2 years on. Meanwhile, they've worked on tribunals. They've worked on dismissing the Chief Justice. They've done the things that are important to them. But the things that will create an industrial conducive environment for people to set up factories, they collapsed 1D1F, and they have not replaced it with anything. Let me show you another industrial policy that they've collapsed. The automotive industry benefited from a policy measure that made it exciting for automobile companies to be locally assembling. Today, they've cancelled the incentives in the automobile sector. And so the local automobile companies that were assembling, you should speak to them. Send your reporters around to speak to them. And they will tell you how all the investment they made in local assembling plants are going to waste. If an economy will grow and develop, one of the things that you should be doing is to be doing high-value exports.
That's Kojo Nkrumah. He's the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee in Parliament. Richard Trinebu-Akodua is the Director of Research and Innovation at the NDPC. He's joining me on Zoom right now for more on this. Mr. Trinebu-Akodua, grateful for your time this evening. Your report says Ghana achieved 6% GDP growth in 2025, yet described the growth as jobless. What indicators led to that conclusion?
Right. So good evening and thanks for the opportunity. So this is the National Annual Progress Report that is done every year to give an indication of the progress that we are making. It's an accountability tool that brings to bear the facts, the evidence, and the progress that we are making. So as the records indicate, overall real GDP growth, we targeted to have 6%, and that record for 2025 shows that yes, we achieved that target. And the medium-term development framework, as we had it at the time, had the primary title as the Agenda for Jobs. So the expectation was that with such implementation of interventions and government programs and initiatives and actions, we're going to have unemployment at least brought down, we're going to have opportunities for enhanced employment for the teeming youth that we have in the country. But in the same time, we read reports that indicate that there are many youth, there are many people who are either engaged in jobs that are not decent, so to speak. Some don't even have the jobs at all. And people are also struggling to make ends meet. From that basis, we come to the conclusion that if the industrial sector, and if you can take a closer look at the target that we set for industry, 7.1%, but we achieved just around 2.3%, which is below what the expectation was for the year 2025. The expectation was that we would have more industries coming up, more opportunities to engage and employ people in Ghana or Ghanaians. And because that did not happen to our expectation, it's generally described as, yes, you have growth, but this growth is not translating into opportunities for people to have decent livelihoods. And that is why we come by that expression. And this is where we also expect that government's industrialization agenda, the factories that will employ people, the agriculture sector, processing factories, light manufacturing, and all that would have boomed up so that people will have jobs to do. But that wasn't it. And that's where we need to keep working hard. It's good that such a report comes out and comes early enough so that going into 2026, for all the implementation, the programs that we are running, we can also keep an eye on that and ensure that we can generate opportunities for more people to be employed. So it's not necessarily to condemn anybody, but just to bring the facts so that we can work together to ensure that people get jobs to do.
And per your report, the industry sector averaged just 2.1% growth between 2022 and 2025, which is compared to 6.6% for services. Did you come to the conclusion that Ghana is becoming too dependent on services at the expense of industries that create more jobs for the country?
Yes, that conclusion can be deduced, and it's something that has been trending for quite some time. Services sector has always led the contributions or the growth in GDP. Much as that may not necessarily be a bad idea, we rather wish that the industry sector comes up strongly, leading the growth, because that is where you will get a lot of jobs happening. Why it is not happening, there are several factors that we need to look into. Access to credit and affordable credit for industries or businesses is a key thing. And so interest rates, which would also drive that agenda, if it is low enough for businesses to invest, that will be great. So the Commission has taken some steps, working closely with the central bank so that we can get to the financial institutions, take a closer look at the credit portfolios that they are running, which sectors of the economy are receiving credit for investments, and what quantums are going there, so that we can also engineer that and ensure that we direct our resources into areas that will create opportunities for more jobs. Agric and industry is good, and we also would like to commend government for the closer collaboration between Ministry of Trade and Industry before then with the Ministry of Agriculture. So now you have industry, agribusiness, and trade in agribusiness and industry, just connecting that strong relationship, forward-backward relationship that should exist between agriculture, which primarily does the production, and then the processing and value addition that should follow in the industry sector. And so that is what we are looking into closely to ensure that there will be more jobs, because you can't discount that. You need jobs and decent jobs
Mm-hmm.
for Ghanaians,
Right.
and to also make the economy more stable. So we're looking into that to ensure that happens.
Speaking of jobs, your report again says over 72% of employed Ghanaians are in vulnerable employment. Does this suggest Ghana's problem is not only unemployment but poor quality jobs? Because 72.2%, that's a whooping amount.
Yeah, so sometimes you look at the informality or the informal nature of our economy, the fact that you have a lot of activity taking place that may not necessarily be documented. It's not just for tax purposes, but if they are not properly documented, then you may not even be able to assess the kind of support that they need. And that is the reason for also driving an agenda for formalizing the economy, making sure that whatever is being done comes to our radar. If you need to extend electricity, if you need to extend water, and several other services that make them more efficient, then that has to be done so that whichever corner of the country that you find yourself, once you are investing, then the accompanying support should come to you, and also to ensure that whatever is produced meets certain standards, so that it's not just for domestic production, but also to be able to benefit from the opportunities of exports, and also expanding into the AFTA region, because we can't just produce to feed or to support Ghana and the Ghanaian economy alone. We need to be competitive enough to also be able to access markets beyond the borders of the country. So all these come into focus as we conduct studies, as we do in-depth analysis to see what will make Ghana become more competitive and participate in the global economy.
Well, the NDPC report also stated that nearly 400,000 entrepreneurs received business support, yet only just about 4,200 SMEs received financing. Would you say that the lack of access to finance is the biggest obstacle to job creation then?
Yes, so the financing bit is very, very important, but sometimes the critical analysis of what exactly you're going to apply the finance to is also very, very important. There are situations where people have taken credit or borrowed to invest, and they may have invested in the wrong type of investments. And so that technical support that should go to businesses, it's not just making the funds available or just giving them affordable loans or funds, but also designing business plans and following through, having our financial institutions and other technical agencies supporting what investments we go into and the strategic step-by-step processes that we need to conduct, so that whether it's into the agri sector or into processing, manufacturing, you study the market, and then you also do your negotiations to be able to be more productive. What kind of equipment, skills do we need, the labor force? Combining these resources, whether technical, logistics, or human, also plays a key role, and we need to keep an eye. It's not just enough to give them funds, but here we recommend that the financial institutions would need to strengthen their technical support to businesses, so that it's not just the funds, but also what the funds go into and how to even sequence the processes so that you can derive a lot from it. Productivity issues also come up strongly. What technology are we using? Are we able to transfer and utilize technologies that will make us become more productive become more efficient? And even which markets do we assess? What value do we place on the things that we are doing so that we can attract the best of prices for the things that we produce? These all come into play so that we will get optimal results from our investment drive.
I'm sure that you noticed a lot of policy mistakes. And what policy mistakes were identified in this report that you think the current administration should urgently correct?
Mistakes might maybe not be the appropriate word to use, but some bit of prioritization, because there's always a lot to be done. But in planning, when to do what and at what spacing do you structure your interventions also are very, very important. Resources are scarce, as we would always say. And so every little penny that we spend, we need to, back it by the appropriate research. Let evidence drive the kind of actions that we take so that we are deliberate and also very, very specific to the outcomes that we want to achieve. So this is the time that we need to take planning very, very seriously. And as we have begun per the new planning cycle, 2026 to 2029, the Commission, working closely with Parliament and Ministry of Finance, has strongly indicated that all public institutions at the national level, at the regional level, at the MMDA, that is the district level, should prepare their plans guided by the planning guidelines that the National Development Planning Commission issues. And it's not just for public sector institutions. These guidelines are there to also give an indication of government priorities for the period. So the plans are prepared and vetted by NDPC. So as we speak, if an agency of government has not prepared their plan and had it certified by NDPC, there is no way you're going to receive budget for implementing your programs. And just like we have done also for the, publishing the APR, the Annual Progress Report, you need to provide annual progress report for NDPC to assess and also include in the National Annual Progress Report. With this, we are able to see how you are applying the resources. And it doesn't even end there. In fact, today, for instance, the NDPC, together with the Parliament Committee on Economy and Development, met the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, going through the performance for 2024. It might sound a bit late because 2024 is 2 years away, but we are going into the outcome of the interventions that they embarked on in 2024 so that it would guide them as they prepare to also provide the performance for 2025. We have just launched the 2025 Annual Progress Report as we are going through. You will see how the indicators for all the various government institutions fared. This is also very important to the private sector because you would see where government resources are going and how we are also faring in those areas. It provides opportunity for investors and even development partners. So you know where we are doing well, where we are not doing well, definitely, then you can intervene or you bring your contributions to the fore. So it brings everybody on board. It's not just consigned to one particular agency or maybe just the government alone, but we invite academia, we invite think tanks, civil society institutions, so that they would all see what is being done. And where we are not doing well will also be clear to all of us so that we can channel our energies and resources into those areas.
Okay.
This is the essence of such a report. And we congratulate the media for making it known to all Ghanaians. Now, everybody, whichever constituency you have, you can just take a hold of the report and then go into the details and see where we are faring, and then make your contributions and comments as well.
Okay. Richard Trinibu-Akodia, thank you very much. He's the Director of Research and Innovation at the National Development Planning Commission. Godfred Buckbin is an economist and Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School. He's also joining the conversation. Grateful for your time this evening. Can Ghana genuinely celebrate 6% GDP growth when 1 in 3 young people is unemployed, and the NDPC says the growth is jobless? What does this say about the country's growth model?
Well, thank you very much. Good evening for the opportunity to share my considered views on this issue. This is not surprising. Growth-employment relationship has been weak. In fact, it's one of the weakest in Sub-Saharan Africa. If you look at the relationship between growth and then employment generation in this country, and it's not surprising because we have not been intentional as a country in engineering job-rich growth. Okay, so once we have not been intentional, we should not be surprised if the outcome is different from what one would have expected. This is what we have worked for. We have worked towards jobless growth, and we have celebrated jobless growth over the years. Let me give you an example. If as a country, unemployment or employment generation remains key component of Ghana's macroeconomic framework, then there should be express targets of employment rate or unemployment rate or whatever way we want to measure it in the national budget. So, for instance, inflation means so much to us. So there's inflation target in the annual budget. There is external balance of payment dynamics matter so much to us. So there is a target, 3 months import cover. There is a target for GDP growth. So there should be a nationally determined target on annual basis of job creation or employment that we want to work towards. Then in that case, we'll configure the system to enable us to track employment generation. If you see what we do in Ghana, we track GDP growth. We track inflation. Even inflation, we report it on monthly basis. There is no nationally determined data generation about employment in this country, either on quarterly or half-yearly or annually in a way that allows us to track the progress that we are making. So those are the things. If we were to do that, then we'll be intentional in resource allocation to the critical areas of the economy where we can engineer job-rich growth. Okay, the labor-intensive sectors of the economy where job creation can be high, we'll then begin to focus in that. But because there's no priority on employment generation, there's no express target of employment generation as part of Ghana's macroeconomic outlook. And that is where the problem is.
Well, interesting. Going through the report, it shows that services sector is the one driving growth, while industry, the sector that is expected to create large-scale jobs, is underperforming. Has Ghana really abandoned the industrialization as the engine of employment?
Nothing is preached more and practiced less in this country, like the data that we have just spoken about. We talk about it. We don't back it with resource allocation. We don't back it in terms of elevating industry. The job-rich subsectors of the economy are the front burner of our growth drivers. We don't do that. And that's not surprising. If you look at service sector that is driving growth, it doesn't depend so much on government investment as much as it depends on private sector, okay, and household consumption. So in private sector, the reason they go into business and expand business may not expressly be is for government to do. So if you see the growth rate for 2025, that is driven largely by the service sector. That itself is driven by more than 55% of that growth is coming from ICT. That is not job rich. Remember the substitution effect of digitization when it comes to employment generation and all of that. So we have, as a country, we have not been intentional. And it's going to get worse if we are not careful, because between now and 2030, 712,000 will be added to Ghana's population. we expect that over 500,000 of that will be entering the labor market, looking for jobs that probably exist in the textbook.
Godfrey Buckin, thank you very much. He's an economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School. Kofi Noko is the vice chairman of the Economy and Development Committee. He's also joining the conversation. Welcome to the program, Mr. Noko. So, going through this new release by the National Development Planning Commission, one of the worrying trends is that industry, which is supposed to create the most jobs, slowed dramatically from 7.2% in 2024 to 2.3% in 2025 under this current administration. What caused that sharp decline?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and also let me send the greetings to your viewers and your listeners on the radio, and then to the panelists who spoke before me. And pardon me for joining this late. I've not followed the discussion, but I believe that the discussion is all about the NDP's program today, where it's been made to understand that even though the economy grew at about 6.56%, it did not reflect in the unemployment rate. I've always maintained that this government is trying very well, because we've come to appreciate that for the economy to work, there are some basic fundamentals that must be in place. And that is why this government is bent on adding value to the raw materials that we produce. We cannot be sitting on millions and billions tons of bauxite, magnesium, and lithium and oil, and all we do is export. If we export, we are exporting jobs, we are exporting opportunities. And that is why value addition is something we're looking at. Also, we've come to understand that in order for jobs to expand, the electricity must be reliable and at a good price. And that is why we are bent on, if you would remember, in the budget statement, the minister was emphatic that we are trying to put up the second GPP2 to ensure that there's supply of gas or electricity to be produced. And also our bench priority on agro-processing. Basically, I said that, yes, there was an increase in GDP, but most of it had to do with mining and oil and gas. And even though it's contributing to the GDP, how many people are employed when these raw materials are just exported just like that? And also, I made a point this morning on your discussion also that with the aid of automation, yes, factories will be producing much, but because of the AI and automation, there's going to be a limit. It will not reflect in the number of people they can employ. And then also, you know how many graduates are being churned out from the universities. So basically, this government has to put in strategies. And that is why the big push is a factor. We know that logistic cost must come down, because moving goods from Accra to Kumasi, to the north, to the south, must come at a cheaper cost. And it has to do with good transportation and also management and bearing of the fuel cost. So basically, these are some of the things we have to do, because you will bear with me that the economic indications are positive. The FX is stabilized. Inflation has come down from 23% to 28.3 to 3% as we speak. And those are good indications. We've done so well when it comes to reserve. So basically the economic indices are positive. But yes, we need to go an extra mile to ensure that it reflects in the employment capabilities of the economy.
Kofi Noko, thank you very much. He is the vice chairman of the Economy and Development Committee. News 9 is next. Gemma has the headlines. Gemma, what's coming up?
Controversial public tribunals bill causes another stir in Parliament as minority leader clashes with Attorney General Dominic Ayeni, with the minority insisting there is no need for tribunals in Ghana's justice system.
Is it going to be in charge of civil matters or criminal matters? Mr. Speaker, I am asking.
More as the minority warns of severe consequences if Parliament goes ahead to pass the bill.
This is a proposal that is coming from the Attorney General. There's no evidence that the judiciary or the Chief Justice has said that we don't have the capacity. So
Retired Supreme Court Justice William Atuguba has accused Parliament of putting personal political interest ahead of the nation's welfare.
I see this Parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. That's what I have seen, and I've said it.
We have details as he hails some former MPs, including Asante Achim North MP Andy Appiah Kubi, for taking on former Finance Minister Kenneth, even at the expense of his seat. Also tonight, over 500 aggrieved workers of Volta Star Limited are demanding more than 3 years of salary arrears as the President Mahama announced a strategic partnership to revive the textile company.
Before this, the company was owing workers almost 3 years. Some were paid in percentiles, others were not paid at all. Yeah, when we want to cancel more of these things, at least the least person will not be taking less than 60,000.
Details as the workers say they will stage series of demonstrations if government fails to pay and follow through on its promise to bring the company back to life. Also, FDA raises alarm. Half of Ghanaian women at risk of hypertension as obesity hits 50%.
1 in every 2 Ghanaian, women are either overweight or obese. Once you have obesity, you are then predisposed to other non-communicable diseases, including hypertension.
In business,
Star and Go lead in price increases at the Palms this morning, but once again they sell a litre way above the approved price floor.
And on your say,
well, from online hero to police cells, well, we tell you how a VET driver hailed on social media for reportedly averting a fatal crash out of Angkor now faces prosecution over the same incident. As always, you can be a part of the conversation and share your thoughts on all our stories on X with the hashtag Newsnight, or by text or voice note via WhatsApp on 055 1111 997. 055 1111 997. Do remember to keep them brief, straight to the point, and within 30 seconds.
Let's give you the details now. Minority Leader Alexander Fengomarking and Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayeni are taking each other on over the controversial Public Tribunals Bill. The bill returned to Parliament today for consideration after an early adoption of the committee's report, paving way for the House to consider the bill. The Minority Leader Alexander Fengomarking, during the debate on the floor, mounted a strong opposition to the bill, calling for Clause 4, which will mandate the establishment of the districts and regions, to be expunged.
I contend that creating this new tribunal system by this provision, Mr. Speaker, will bring chaos to the justice delivery system we have in our country. Mr. Speaker, this is populism. We need clarity. Justice must not just be done, must be seen to be done. Mr. Speaker, I remember the famous case of Tagore and Issa Abbas, where the respected Dr. Dominic Ayeni took the matter up at Court of Appeal. These were individuals who were convicted. And at the Court of Appeal, his argument was that a man may not just be convicted because of his own words. That is populism. He argued. He said every element of a crime must be proven. Lead evidence of probative value. That was the argument of the respected Dr. Ayeni. It was because we had a clarity, certainty in the law. We had a Court of Appeal, well properly constituted. Today, you want to have a tribunal? A tribunal. Populism, Choboy justice. Choboy justice. Mr. Speaker, Choboy justice, where people will be sent and people will be thrown into jail. Mr. Speaker, I will not sit here as a minority leader and allow this provision to stand. I move that this provision be deleted. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
You had the Minority Leader Alexander Fengomarking. Let's join my colleague James Aveji in Parliament for details. James, let's talk about this clause. Why is it so important to the minority?
Well, Gemma, some would describe it as the cornerstone of this entire bill because the Clause 4 subtitle is Establishment of the Tribunal Justice. Now, this particular clause drew down the powers of Article 125 of the 1992 Constitution, as well as Article 126 and 142, to state that, quote, there is established by this act the tribunal system, which consists of a regional tribunal and a district tribunal. Essentially, this is a clause that establishes, or that endorses the establishment of the tribunals at both the regional and the district level. Without this particular clause, some would describe this entire bill as non-existent or would not come into existence. Even if it passed, we may not have any tribunal system in the country. And so that's how important this particular clause 4 is to the entire bill that is under consideration as we speak.
Is it going to be in charge of civil matters or criminal matters? Mr. Speaker, I am asking rhetorically. Respected Leonard, you must listen to me. You have your opportunity to have a bite. This is unfair. Respected Leonard Attorney General, first gentleman at the bar, this approach is wrong. This is wrong. You have your bite. You have a bite in the mic.
Honorable Minority Leader, Honorable Attorney General, please, both of you should resume your seats.
I'm your senior.
Honorable,
but I'm your senior here. And I'm your senior here.
Both of you should resume your seats.
Introducing chaos. That is what the tribunal will do. What you are doing is what the tribunal will do. They should let us speak.
Both of you resume your seats.
The tribunal system. This is the tribunal system. This is the tribunal system.
Honorable Minority Leader, Attorney General, both of you should resume your seats.
Tribunal system of justice. Tribunal system of justice. That's what you are practicing.
So, James, we had that exchange between the minority leader and I suppose the Attorney General. The Speaker had to come in. Tell us exactly what led to this exchange.
Well, Gemma, during the minority leader's statement, he made a number of points, as you heard in the earlier sound, calling for the deletion of the clause 4. It is during that point he went on, and the Attorney General, who is on the floor, got up on his feet on a point of order to correct a number of issues he's been raising. It is when he rose to his feet that drew the attention of the minority leader, who insisted that he should resume his seat, and the Attorney General sought to say some few words. When the microphone was off, he did not put the microphone on, but the minority leader wasn't happy that he was interrupting what he said, interrupting his submission, for which reason he tried to establish the fact that he should resume his seat and that when we come to the floor, he is a senior to him and all of that. But of course, the Attorney General reacted to this, and he sought to bring to the attention of the minority leader that the clause 4 or the submissions he's making are not valid, and that these are misleading the public on what the value of the bill actually is. We can listen to the AG himself, Dominic Ayine.
These things are textually incorrect as far as the Constitution is concerned, because as you yourself drew his attention to the provision in Article 126 of the Constitution, and 142, but let's start with 126. It provides an integrated judicial system that includes regional tribunals, and that also includes such lower courts or tribunals as Parliament may by law establish. And Mr. Speaker, this is exactly what we are doing. In terms of the regional tribunals, what we are doing is just simply amplifying the provisions of the Constitution in 126 and 124. In terms of the district tribunal, what we are simply doing is implementing 126 by creating a lower tribunal that will deal with criminal matters that have been specified in the bill, including those of illegal mining. So, Mr. Speaker,
We are not creating a parallel justice system. We are simply amplifying what is provided for in the Constitution.
James, the minority is still maintaining its stance on the matter.
Exactly, Gemma. The ranking member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs, the Human Rights Committee, Honorable Tampuli, indicated that if the majority and government should go ahead and approve this bill and pass it into law, it will come back to hurt the majority, especially citing the example of the passage of the OSP bill, which some of the first people to have been invited by the OSP was the then majority leader Alexander Panyo Markin after passage of the bill, insisting that this will be injurious to the justice system of Ghana.
This is a proposal that is coming from the Attorney General. There's no evidence that the judiciary or the Chief Justice has said that we don't have the capacity. So these are politically created courts to persecute opponents of the regime. But Mr. Speaker, with time, you will finish prosecuting your opponents. And like hyenas, when they cease to get meat, they will eat each other. They will finish eating us and they will come after you because they can't be sitting down idle. So Mr. Speaker, Auditor General report has already cited you. Auditor General's report. Look at the Auditor General report. Mr. Speaker, they will eat you like hyenas. The tribunals will eat you. So Mr. Speaker, let's be very, very careful. When we pass the OSP Act, under His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, one of the persons who came under attack was my very learned brother and senior, the majority leader. By the time that they left office, the OSP was now consuming MVP people. That should tell you something. It's not going to be one-sided. Let's hasten slowly.
So we had Hassan Tampoli. James is still on the line to us. James, we understand that the House has suspended sitting because of this issue. Tell us more.
Well, Gemma, out of the back and forth, after the back and forth, the Speaker put a question and the minority leader's proposal for the Clause 4 to be deleted has been rejected. But the minority leader has raised an objection that they are coming to challenge that voice vote and compel the House to, vote on this in other means, which may be head count or other ones proposed by the standing orders of the House. The majority leader indicated that the House need to take some suspension to come back and continue with this. Remember, there are over 50 amendments proposed to this particular bill. They have done only 4. They are supposed to continue with 5, but as it stands, they are on a short suspension. They will come back and we will know how the minority would push the challenge to the voice vote and if they will succeed in that and what the way forward would be for the amendment process. Gemma.
James Aviji is my colleague in Parliament.
A former Supreme Court Judge, William Atuguba, has blasted Parliament, saying MPs now put partisan politics above national interest. At a ceremony marking 20 years since the death of Speaker D.F. Annan, Justice Atuguba said the recent parliaments have sidelined the country's welfare. Still, he hailed former MP Andy Appiah for challenging Kenneth as finance minister, despite the political cost. Listen to him.
Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Minority. Is that the case now? Debatable. Thank you, at least. Well, that is not it. Truth is one and indivisible, except you are talking politically. You know it. I see this parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever for the time being is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. That's what I have seen, and I've said it. I'm not saying these things out of spite. Not at all. But it's necessary. Because the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost. There are some people who are good politicians.
That's former Supreme Court Judge William Atuguba. He, however, isolated some MPs in this scathing criticism.
Another person, I've never seen him, but since the days of his bold uprising, if I may so put it, against the former finance minister, I've developed a soft spot for him. What's his name? Appiah Kubi. The price he paid for that was the loss of his seat. Look at that. For standing on the correct thing, he should be like the type of politics. Is that commendable? I also want to acknowledge the stance of Chairman Sabonsu, who said that it is not necessary to create more parliamentary seats. But I don't know why a small country like Ghana, the number was 100 or so, or up to 270. For what reason and purpose? What is the true benefit to the people from this kind of thing?
That is Justice William Atuguba there. He also expressed disappointment in some of the officials in the current administration.
Somebody like Zaneto Rawlings. She's not a politician. She's a woman of the people. I've been following her activities. I don't know, I've never spoken to her, never met her. But I'm convinced that that's the kind of politician people should aspire to be. Up till now, and that's why I don't get involved in politics. I don't know why she's not yet a minister. I hope by saying that I've not destroyed her chances. From social media, it seems there are sometimes they even announce her as Deputy Minister of Health. I say, oh, she could even be the substantive. Then something. But I think there's something there. Why not? Why not? Such a woman of principle, of dedication, of integrity. Why not?
That there is former Supreme Court Judge William Atuguba.
Now, more than 500 employees of Volta Star Limited are demanding the immediate payment of over 3 years of unpaid salaries and other outstanding benefits. The demand comes despite President John Mahama's announcements that government has secured a strategic investor to partner in the revitalization of the textile company. We'll hear shortly from a spokesperson for the aggrieved workers of the company, Raphael Darkon. But first, listen to President Mahama announce government's plans to revive the company.
No discussion about Japan can be complete without recognizing the historic contribution of the Volta Star Textile Limited, which for many years symbolized hope, employment, and industrial progress while supporting thousands of families and shaping the community's economic identity. Government is determined to restore the legacy of the Volta Star Textiles Limited. We're going to do this through strategic partnerships, investment mobilization, and modernization of the factory's operations.
Let's go to the phone line and speak to the spokesperson for the aggrieved workers of Volta Star Limited, Raphael Darkon. Raphael, welcome to News 9. You mentioned earlier that 500 of your colleagues are owed over 3 years of salaries and other benefits. Can you break down exactly what is owed and how long these arrears have accumulated?
Thank you. I want to seize the opportunity to say hi to all listeners and also thank you so much for the opportunity. In fact, this thing happened way back in 2023, exactly 3 years now. The place was closed down unceremoniously. No information was given to us as workers. Earlier on, the party has been struggling in terms of financial and production costs because the machines we were using were all obsolete. So we were not even breaking even to pay ourselves. For that matter, we've been struggling until the final closure or the breakdown of the company 24th July 2023. So there are a lot of money owed by the company to the workers.
I'm sure you heard President John Mahama today announcing that the government has secured a strategic investor to help revitalize the textile company. That should come to you as good news. And are you hopeful that your monies will be paid with this strategic investor coming on board?
Of course, yes. I vividly heard the president. And then it's a new hope to us. So we are keeping our fingers crossed, waiting for the strategic investor to take over and then take it up from there.
Have you petitioned government, perhaps the regional minister, about your concerns, aside from hearing from the president today?
Yes, of course we did.
Who did you petition?
We petitioned the regional minister.
And what was the response?
Yes, we were called just 3 weeks ago, and then he gave us a time frame. He told us the same story that finally a strategic investor has been found now. And then the time frame that he gave us hasn't come before the president came in today. So we are still hoping.
How soon are you expecting the company to bounce back so that at least you get your monies paid?
Now, workers as we are aggrieved and worried. You know, President Mahama is a listening president. So we are counting on him, hoping that very, very soon, as he puts it himself.
We are grateful for your time. Raphael Dakon is a spokesperson for the aggrieved workers of Volta Star Limited. Thankfully, the Volta Regional Minister James Gunn is on the line to us. Welcome to News 9. And we've just heard from some workers, the spokesperson for the workers of Volta Star Limited. They say that for 3 years they haven't been paid and they petitioned your office. You received the petition, right?
Yes.
And what was your assurance to them?
Thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your audience. I received a petition from the aggrieved workers, and I had meetings with them in my office about 2 weeks ago. And even I met them. Very fruitful discussion. I had a meeting with the Honorable Minister for Trade and Agribusiness, Honorable Elizabeth Fajari. And today, His Excellency the President made a statement on what government is doing to revamp the factory.
But it's interesting to note that in the president's address, he did not even mention this outstanding salary arrears owed to the workers. So what plans do you have to settle them? And is that even a priority at all in this strategic partnership you're having with the investor?
Definitely what is important is, first of all, let's look at the future of the factory. We've gotten a strategic advisor, and they are in the process of getting an investor to take over the factory so that all those issues can be ironed out.
Can you give us timelines? When is this company going to, when are you going to conclude the negotiations you're having with a strategic partner, and when are these workers going to be paid? What is owed them?
We are not going to take 8 years.
So how many years is it going to take you?
His Excellency, the President said that the process is ongoing and it will not be long. So once we have taken the first step, taking the second step becomes easier.
So you are not working with any timeline?
We are working within the good people of this country have given us. You understand? And when we have a meeting and we get a strategic investor, finally, have another meeting with the workers, and the way forward will be defined.
So as we speak now,
exactly the position in terms of compensation or whatever.
Mr. Gunu, so as we speak now, the government, you do not have a strategic partner yet. You are still in the process of getting a strategic partner for the Volta Star Limited revitalization.
There is a strategic, advisor in terms of this is the person who is going to lead the charge to ensure that we get an who will come and take over the factory. You understand? It's a process. And they need to appreciate the fact that, yes, this government is concerned. And I have informed them about my personal commitment to seeing this factory back to life. So that last year when we had our Voter Trade and Investment Fair, we did the launch of the fair at the premises of the Voter Star Sector Company Limited at Japan to draw the investor community's attention to that edifice.
And right, Mr. Gunu, we get it. So you are still in the process of getting a strategic investor, and so the aggrieved workers would have to wait until you get that, and that should be between now and when this government expires. Is that the case? Yes or no? Because of time.
It will not take us any long period.
Right.
I have to assure them.
Right.
But I cannot tell them that within 1 week or 2 weeks.
Points well made.
Having gotten to this stage, His Excellency the President has shown his commitment and passion to ensure that this factory.
Thank you very much. James Gunu is the Volta Regional Minister.
You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and our numerous affiliates. A reminder that you can share your thoughts with us on the stories we've been bringing to you so far. What do you think about the stories we've been bringing to you so far? The number is 055 11 11 997. You can also send a voice note, but it must be crisp and short. A maximum of 30 seconds. That brings us to business. George Biafe is here. George, what do you have for us?
Well, coming up, Star and Gold lead in price increases at the pumps this morning, but once again sells a litre above the price floor. And telecoms firms to commence bid to operate 5G network in Ghana very soon as the National Communications Authority formally opens the door to receive applications for those who are willing to operate this enhanced network. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials.
30 years ago, MTN arrived in Ghana and everything changed. Now, to celebrate 30 years, we are giving back big time. The MTN at 30 promo is here. 9 Toyota Land Cruiser Prados to be won. Over 10 million Ghana cedis in rewards, plus so much more. Connect to your everyday hustle on MTN. Make video calls. Browse the internet for business with family and friends. Connect your home to MTN Fiber. Make that money move on Momo and stay ahead because every move counts. Ghana, let's celebrate 30 years of MTN with the MTN at 30 promo. Use more MTN services, build more points, and win big. Dial *530# or visit the My MTN app for more.
We dey blast them. Who dey blast? We dey blast them. Who dey blast? We dey blast them. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth every day and night. After eating before bed, brush the germs away. The sugar jam, we go brush them. Fufu jam, we go brush them. Rice jam, we go brush them. We go.
When it comes to your teeth, Funnel World Cup. Brush them twice daily with Pepsodent, now in limited edition packs. This advert is FDA approved.
This football season, Star Oil and Point Africa, they give you double. Every Monday and Tuesday, fuel up at Star Oil and get 2 times your bonus points. That's right, double points when you buy quality and affordable fuel from Star Oil. Now, fuel the game for Point Ibeji. From 1st June to 19th July, collect and redeem points in the Point Africa app for amazing rewards, including fuel vouchers, flat screen TVs, PlayStation, Bluetooth speakers, blenders, and food deals. First come, first serve. Charlie, don't just pay. Get point, use point. Download the Point Africa app today. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuel for all. Terms and conditions apply.
Introducing Ghana's leading pay-as-you-copy photocopier leasing company. Lease an A4, A3, heavy-duty or production machine and pay for only the copies made or design your own payment plan. Simple and tietia. That's not all. Incredibly, toners, repairs, maintenance, follow-me printing, centralized tracking all come free of charge. Remember, financial prudence is the name of the game. Folks, forget about the expensive gimmicks and be smart. Join the hundreds of satisfied clients across all the 16 regions and every sector of the economy and save over 60% of your printing costs. Visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Be prudent and lease a copier. Terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
You know that feeling. A hospital bill that arrives out of nowhere. A diagnosis you weren't prepared for. A system that seemed designed to confuse you and costs that keep climbing. And the stress of not knowing if you are protected. Eden isn't lost. Eden Care was created to give it back to you. Eden Care is health insurance made for everyday family life. With Eden Care, getting healthcare is easy and you are backed by a trusted insurance partner with years of experience. No confusing terms, just complete protection for your entire family. Step back into peace. Step into experience you can rely on. Reach out right now at 059-692-1844 and choose Eden Care today. Eden Care is brought to you by Acacia Health Insurance, a member of the Enterprise Group.
Syntax Tango! Syntax, hey, tough, hey, strong. If you want quality, this be where you belong. Syntax, hey, tough, hey, strong. Oh, gonna shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, Syntax no break when the rain they fall. Still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Saswabo
sasso, mi se come tonton preko. Edrana dramine buseshe. Yeah, hakesia ne malaria. Minya me pone me sasso spray. Every mosquito start to run away. Tonton preko. Sasso, sasso, mi se come tonton preko. Sasso, kum tonton preko. Nani sham ne die demonstronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on News Night. Now, two of the top oil marketing companies, that is Star Oil and Gold, have moved quickly to increase their prices at the pumps. But once again, they've all priced above the regulator's price floor. So what does this signal? And what could be the impact on consumers? There is more in the following Business Desk report.
Since kicking off their price war earlier this year, Star Oil and Gold have consistently sold petrol and diesel at the benchmark prices published by the National Petroleum Authority, offering consumers some of the lowest pump prices on the market. However, over the past month, that trend appears to have shifted, with both companies on separate occasions pricing their fuel above the NPA's benchmark instead of matching it. Again, in some cases, they have also not competed aggressively on prices. It is not yet clear whether this signals the end of the price war witnessed in recent months, possibly due to the rising cost of operations for players in the downstream petroleum industry. The big question now is, what will this mean for consumers? Some industry players have argued that the National Petroleum Authority's planned introduction of a price floor has effectively brought an end to the price competition that had provided consumers with some relief. So, can we say that all is lost for consumers when it comes to enjoying some relief from rising petroleum product prices?
Well, that question is still out there to be answered. To other stories. Now, government has announced that it will make another budgetary allocation to the Bank of Ghana next year to aid plans to fully recapitalize the institution by 2032. Now, this is coming after earlier this year, it issued some 5 billion Ghana cedis in bonds to support this plan of recapitalizing the Bank of Ghana. Deputy Minister of Finance, Thomas Nyakwampem, announced this at a program to celebrate 50 years of rural banking in Ghana.
In March this year, government issued a 5 billion Ghana cedis bond for the recapitalization of the Bank of Ghana. This forms the beginning of a broader phase strategy to systematically restore the Bank of Ghana's balance sheet and financial strength by 2032. And in next year's budget, we will make another allocation to further recapitalize the central bank. Our efforts aim to reinforce its institutional independence, preserve monetary policy credibility, and ensure that it remains well positioned to deliver on its core mandate of price and financial stability.
Thomas Nyakwampem is the Deputy Minister of Finance. The Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has defended the regulator's decision to move for the rebranding of rural banks to community financial institutions. There have been some concerns expressed about the name change and the December 2026 deadline. But speaking at the program to mark 50 years of rural banking in Ghana, the governor said we should look at the reason behind and the plan and how that could also impact on lending to small businesses at the local level.
Mobile money, fintech, and digital services have widened access enormously, and we should say so. But access is not the same as service. And when national policy opens a financing window or eases a pressure or supports a sector, the benefit too often stops at the doors of the largest institutions. It should reach the trader, the artisan, and the small business in every community. So we are creating the room for community banks to be established wherever they are needed, rural or urban.
And that is the governor of the Bank of Ghana. They're giving us some understanding the reason behind this whole change of name from rural to community banks. Now, telecoms firms should in the coming days move to bid for 5G network license from government. Now, this was after the National Communications Authority today announced that it has opened the door to accept applications of any operator in Ghana. According to a statement from the authority, the license will enable each entities to have spectrum to establish a minimum and operate electronic communications network for the provision of mobile broadband services, including this 5G. Now, this follows government decision to review this exclusive right offered to NextG by the previous administration when it comes to enhance internet services to consumers. So the stock market, if you are a shareholder of MTN, the value of its share held was up by 12 pesos to close at 6 Ghana cedis 59 pesos. And Kenneth, today on the PM Express Business Edition, we are giving the floor or the seat to businesses in Ghana as the finance minister is working to present the mid-year budget review next Thursday to Parliament. What do businesses want? I'll be hearing the thoughts of an economist, that is Professor Ebo Texan, and also business person, Chief Executive of Daylight Finance, Joe Jackson, Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Sechu Makwabwa, and President of GUTA, Clement Boateng. These are our guests on PM Express at 9 p.m. on Joy News and all our social media platforms.
That should be a very interesting conversation this evening, George. Now, 1 in 2 women in Ghana could be exposed to non-communicable diseases like hypertension and stroke as the Food and Drugs Authority raises concern over the rising rate of obesity among women in Ghana, with prevalence increasing from 10% in 1993 to 50% in 2022. According to a World Health Organization report, the rise is being driven by the increasing consumption of processed foods and growing food poverty. Speaking at the launch of the FDA's double-duty nutrition profiling system, which is expected to guide healthier food choices and support the implementation of key nutrition policies, Professor of Public Health Nutrition Amos La said urgent attention must be paid to the trend, warning that obesity can lead to other non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, which I mentioned earlier. Let's go on to the telephone lines right now and engage him. Amos La, who is a professor of public health nutrition. Welcome to the program. What are the health implications of obesity in women? And we heard nothing about the obesity in men.
Thank you. Cherished listeners, thanks for having me here. Obesity is a chronic but also a very complex disease that is characterized by excessive accumulation of body fat. That body fat can be accumulated in different parts of the body. So usually in adults, we screen or measure it using an index, popularly referred to as BMI or body mass index. And so to get these, we first of all have to confirm, are you a man or a woman? And how heavy are you relative to how tall you are? So once that measurement is done, we are able to tell whether you're overweight, you're obese, or you're morbidly obese. And so moving from being overweight to being obese to morbid obesity, that tells you the implications of obesity on health as a whole. Indeed, obesity is now classified as a disease. It's one of the non-communicable diseases. But it's one non-communicable disease that is also a risk or a risk factor to other non-communicable diseases. And so the implications are many. Once you're obese, your propensity to having hypertension is high. Other non-communicable diseases, heart-related conditions, is also high. As to whether this is exclusive to just women, no, it is not a woman's disease alone. Men can be obese as well. And so the data that you quoted from our Ghana Demographic and Health Survey, we've been measuring this data and reporting it since the late 1980s. And so data from 1993, when it was done, the prevalence, which is always higher among women, and there are good reasons, right, was about 10%. The last time we did it in Ghana in 2022, it was published in 2024, 1 in 2 Ghanaian women, as you accurately represented.
Mm.
But that same report also measured prevalence of obesity and overweight and obesity, right, among men of the same age as of the women.
Mm-hmm.
And there it was 21%. So it's not just a woman's disease.
Right. Amos La, thank you very much for that update. If you hear the sick tune, you know that it's now time for your say, and Edem Kujo is in the studio. Edem, what are people saying?
Yeah, so Kenneth, people are speaking predominantly on the issue with the tribunals, but I'll first read some messages on the job creation story. This one from Nana in Spintex says, MPP should give us a break. If they had really created jobs for the youth, they would still be there will still be jobs today. Then this from Godwin Kumasi says, we are not learning anything better from the minority leader. He's always confused because of the loss of MPP to NDC. This in respect to the tribunals discussion in Parliament. Nana Yokia Boating in Ablekuma Central says, the proposed legislation that sought to introduce tribunals is ill-conceived. Has the judiciary complained of not being able to carry out their duties? Why is the government in indecent haste to introduce this into our judicial system? Kwesi Nkaswa says the corrupt nature of some of our Ghanaian leaders won't help the tribunal systems at all. What has become of the system we have now? Musa Batua in Asawasi says, indeed, if the purpose of establishing tribunal court is to ensure speedy justice, then there should be no reason for opposition. Parliament should proceed with the law to establish tribunals. Prophet Wisdom inside Agbozome says, we are lucky to have the most firm a strong, mighty minority leader like Afenyo to put the NDC-led government on their toes. And this final one is from Blay. Blay says, what is Afenyo Makin afraid of? And this final one from Democracy inside Akachi says, the Mahama-led administration is really ruling the country in the right direction. So these are your comments, Kenneth.
Right. What else do we have to know?
Yeah, so, okay, let's listen to this.
Adam, why this music today? What's happening?
Kenneth, so yesterday there was a very, very popular incident on social media.
Right.
I'm sure if you are very active on social media, you would have seen some women, a young man and woman, going to crowd around a driver of a Toyota Vitz. And the narrative was that the driver of the Toyota Vitz, can I listen to this very well, that a Toyota Vitz driver managed to use his Toyota Vitz to cross an articulated track.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Was it a movie set?
Oh, can I let me finish? Let me finish. So the narrative was that the articulated track was speeding, had lost its brake, and was about to ram into the crowd and kill people. So the heroic Toyota Vitz driver. Now if you use Vitz and you park at Accra, someone open the door.
Yes.
Let's go. So please forgive me if you drive a Vitz. So the Toyota Vitz driver, according to the reportage, went in there, used his car as a shield, and managed to stop the speeding articulated truck who has lost his brake from hitting people.
And the driver came out alive?
Oh yes, they all survived.
So you're asking if it's a movie set?
Yeah, so that was also circulating on social media, and everybody was saying, "Oh, say yeah, money yo."
I saw that picture. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that picture.
Well, as Joy News, we always check the facts. So our colleague Emmanuel Ojivenu went to Ofanko, and he spoke to he went to investigate, and he spoke to the Mile 7 police station commander. This is what he has to say.
It's just a reckless driving. Preliminary investigation shows that the VID driver drove recklessly. That's the actual thing. It's not that the truck driver filled a brake and the VID driver tried to. No, it's not that.
So Kenneth, yes, in fact, that was actually the wrong narrative. And now,
of course.
And now, guess what? The VID driver is actually being arraigned before court for reckless driving. So yes, we are celebrating on social media, but as a
I mean, what a silly thing to do. But Adam Kojo, thank you very much for bringing us your say this evening. That's it for News Night. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.